Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Cast and Loose. This is sort of an informal fishing discussion. I'm gonna have all sorts of people on here, hopefully. Hopefully it's not just me most weeks because that's not very fun. But today I've got Gordo on here. Gordo is a guide for bass and hybrids and all sorts of stuff on Percy Priest. So man, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us about the guide service, tell us about you and let's get into it.
So my name is Gordo, and I fish with Brian Carper. We do multi-species, uh, mostly bass fishing, crappie, and hybrids. Especially, it's going to get good really, really soon. So I'm very excited about that. Um, I met Brian Carper actually through booking a trip with him, which is pretty funny. Um, and and it wasn't because I wanted to like learn techniques or anything like that. It was I was at this place where I wanted to support local businesses. Um, and so I wanted to reach out to local businesses and kind of just support them as much as I can because I myself have a local business and especially in this time where COVID and nobody knew what was going on and things like that. And we went on a trip and I actually ended up learning so much off the trip and to see that um, Brian Carper was a man of faith was was the most important thing for me. And so we just kind of just we kind of just had a good time. That was a tough fishing that day, but I ended up learning a lot. And then I ended up finding some techniques, my own kind of techniques on catching hybrids. When I started catching hybrids, that caught Brian's attention. And it's a dream to just be a fisherman at that kind of level, period. Most of us dream about being a pro fisherman, but to actually be a guide, um, and to know that you can actually work with people and also share your faith, and which is like the most important thing for me. Um, and so that's how I met Brian. I started out fishing as a kid. I would skip school to go fishing, which didn't turn out pretty good eventually. But then for many years I didn't fish, and then a few years ago, um, I started fishing, and then I met a buddy of mine delivering cabinets to his house, and I saw a boat, and this guy who didn't know me was like, "Hey, let's go fishing." And so I did, and I haven't stopped since.
That's
So
awesome.
it's just been a great ride.
That's awesome, man. I love that story is great. Everything about that is awesome. I know Brian has a fantastic reputation around the area. There's some
Oh
guys
yeah,
that like you hear some little weird stories about, oh, I don't know, he jipped me or he takes information
yeah.
from whatever. I mean, you hear stuff all the time, but I have to say, I haven't been here that long, but I know enough people and have fished around the area enough that I would have heard something if he had any sort of speck on his reputation. So it's a good dude, and it's cool that you get to work with him. I mean,
Oh, absolutely. I'm honored. Every time I'm honored.
it's
That
awesome.
is it can be stressful, because it's
Sure,
a lot of pressure, and you want to please the customer, you
of
know,
course.
but at the same time you want to have fun while you're at it.
Right.
Um, and so it could be tough, but as long as you're able to engage with a customer and show them a good time, um, that's really what it's about.
Sure.
Making memories.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point. So, Have you been fishing lately? I know your boat's been in the shop a little bit, but tell me about the last time you went out. What'd you do?
So actually, I find a bank here and there, and um, I got a collection of videos that I'm trying to start a channel on. But um, I am, I'm always trying to get out there, no matter what. Um, if it's on our pontoon, our family pontoon, which has no trolling motor, no electronics, no nothing, but still catching fish. And the number one way that I've been catching them in the summer is been a drop shot. It's my go-to favorite so far this
Awesome.
summer, especially when it's tough.
Yeah. I think that's something that a lot of anglers don't like, especially if you're a power fisherman. It's like, oh, that's my last resort. But if it's a favorite of yours, that must mean it's effective.
Well, it is because I followed that I followed that rule, that a lot of bass fishermen have. It's like that's my last resort. And so for a long time, I had a drop shot rigged up in the boat, sitting at the very bottom, and it was starting to get moldy and all that stuff because I would never pull it out. And then nothing worked one day. Nothing worked. And for some reason, something inside me was like, throw a drop shot. And I threw a drop shot and I caught some good smallmouth. I caught some really good fish. And then I just been going out there with just a drop shot. I'm in Chattanooga right now,
Hmm.
and today I didn't have time because the travel here plus working late.
Right.
But tomorrow, in my truck, in the bed of my truck, there's two rods. That's all I have that I brought with me, and it's always going to be a swim bait and a drop shot. The
Awesome.
reason why I choose a drop shot is because I noticed one thing: a lot of people would prefer a Texas rig, a worm or a bug over the drop shot.
Right.
I don't, not anymore, because there are places that you could fish a drop shot better than you would a Texas rig. I know most people would probably disagree, but if you run into a place where there's some fish holding up, but it's got slimy bottom, they're not going to touch that Texas rig.
Yep.
Whereas you got a little worm or a little bait fish kind of resembles, and you got about 12 inches off the bottom. I get bit every time. And it's just fun. It's just fun. I've figured out different ways to fish it. It's not just a standing in front of the boat and vertical down like a
Right.
lot of people thought.
That's what I was about to go into is when you and we've only been fishing together once, but when we went, the thing that I picked up from you most out of everything we talked about and did was casting the drop shot and dragging it.
Yeah.
Casting it to cover, casting it to rocks on points. And I've taken that this summer, especially when fishing gets tough, like this time of year, man. I don't know about you, but I struggle. I mean, it gets tough in this late summer, early fall, this weird transitional period. I've been catching them on a drop shot in ponds too. It's not just out on the lake. It what you're saying is totally true. It's not just a vertical thing, and getting it up off the bottom is super important. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
awesome.
It, oh yeah. It's a great technique, and I wish I would have picked it up a long time ago. But I'm glad that I've kind of stuck to it, learned different ways to fish it. And as a matter of fact, I've caught hybrid on it
Yeah.
because I would put a swim bait on there if they were schooling. I put a swim bait and just cast it and let it pendulum back,
Hmm.
and you get hit,
Right.
and it's like
That's a very
it's
unique
just
presentation. They haven't seen something like that, I'm sure.
oh yeah, it's awesome. I love it. And
That's awesome.
like I said, I keep it tied on now and it stays on my boat, you
Yeah.
know.
Right. I think, and one interesting thing about the drop shot is you can probably catch fish on it all year. Like
Oh yeah.
it's not a seasonal thing. Now you can change what you're throwing. Like you could change color of worm, or put a little baby swim bait like you're talking about. But you can find fish somewhere at some depth eating something that they'll eat a drop shot. I think year round.
And what's cool is that you can right there, you can just, if you have the right hook. I like to use VMC hooks.
Which one?
But if you have the number two, Nico Finesse, number two.
Yep. That's my hook choice too.
And you can put a worm on there. If you're gonna fish where there's some cover, you can Texas rig it.
Yep.
And fish it in cover.
Yep.
You can take that off, put a swim bait and nose hook it, and throw it out in open water. And
Right.
it's just it's so versatile, and it's so fun that you literally just can take one rod and have all these baits where you can just put on and try, and it's just fun. It's what I give my kids, and even customers when we're having a tough time on the boat. Everybody's getting a drop shot.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool, man. It's so cool to see you get fired up about a drop shot, because most guys hate it. But it's such a great technique for you. I love seeing you get fired up about it, because it's just
to be able to slow down, know that you got light line, baby hook, small weight. It's different than from having a heavy stick with a big, EWG hook on there,
right.
and waiting for, that power set on that hook. It's just, it's different. It is different. But if you want to catch fish, especially on lakes like Percy Priest, where it's tough, the fishing is just really tough. But I like it like that.
Yeah.
I do, because it makes me a better fisherman.
Sure.
It makes me try things that, and then sometimes I got to take everything out of my boat and just take that one thing just to be able to perfect it.
Right. That's a great way to get better at whatever technique you want to do, whether it's a drop shot or a frog or a whatever. I mean, that's a great thing to do. So that's good stuff, man.
I've had the situation to where I only had the drop shot, and there was a school of fish busting on top of the water, and I'm like, oh, where's my top water?
Right.
But
you can still catch them with the drop shot. It's just a different deal.
Yeah, it's just different. It's just different, and you can.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Well, as for me, we've talked about what you live to do out there and your story a little bit. But as for me, this week and last week and the week before that, I've been catching them on a drop shot. If I get an evening to go out on the pond, man, I'll take a morning dawn, robo worm out there and catch them when really nothing else will. I mean, I might get a bite on a Texas rig, but the drop shot has been the MVP for me the last couple of weeks. So that's been really cool. I've got a video dropping. Did a One Creek challenge on Old Hickory with some buddies. So that'll be up tonight. But other than that, I'm going to be going back to Old Hickory this weekend, be heading upriver, which is something that if you've seen some of my videos, I love to go upriver. I mean, it's like an instinct thing for me, man. I want to get away from everybody. I want to get up in the skinny stuff. I want to get up in the current. So we're going out with a buddy on Saturday to film that. But are you back in town? Are you back fishing this weekend?
I'm gonna try to. Of course, I got a boat sitting in the shop, which is a struggle because the part is on back order, and you don't know when Mercury is gonna have it available. So it's just tough. It's tough. So, but I will find a way to fish.
That's right.
That's just it. If I got to borrow somebody's kayak,
right. Heck
I'm fishing.
I love it. That's awesome, man. Well, Whenever you get that channel started, we'll have you back on so we can majorly plug it. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing the videos you put out. I know you're a great fisherman and a great dude. So, what's the easiest way if someone wants to book a trip with you? What's the easiest way to access that information?
That would be the www.briancarper.com. It's real simple. You just go to the website and you can book particular species, and you can actually add a note there if you want to fish with a particular fisherman. And there are some outstanding fishermen working with Brian Carper.
Yeah.
And some of these guys I just look up to, you know.
And you're one of them.
You know, I sometimes I just shake my head. I'm like, gosh, man, these guys they're amazing. They're
Yeah.
you know, they are. You know,
Absolutely.
Arnie, you know, Eric, Brian himself. I mean, these guys are awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I will plug his website both. I'll put it in the video here. It'll be down in the description. Either way, you'll be able to find them. But you know, we've had a lot of conversations over the last couple months. We've only been fishing once together, but I've just loved getting to know you, man. And I thought it would be great to have you on here. I think people will really enjoy this. It's very informative. So, any last thoughts before we jump off here?
Man, all I got to say is, you know, also, like I said, I love supporting my local business people, my local tackle. Torrent Baits has some amazing baits. I use their 4.0 for my drop shot majority of the time,
Yeah.
and I catch a lot of fish. And I'm not allowed to say it, but man, it's going to be a fun fall. You know, after John releases his product for the new lineup for Torrent Baits, it's just
Yeah,
going to
man.
be awesome, man.
I
I'm excited.
I don't know anything about it, but I'm excited. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh man, you know what? And when I get my hands on it, you will be on my boat, and we're gonna go catch the big hybrid.
Awesome. Awesome. I think I got an idea of what it might be, but I'll
Oh,
wait.
it's
I don't want it spoiled for me. I don't want to spoil it for anybody else. But yes, Torrent makes some great stuff. I know I've caught fish on Percy Priest with their baits, and you obviously do too. So I'll put their stuff down in the description as well. We all love the local stuff around here. So awesome, man. Well, I think we're gonna close this out, dude. Thank you so much for being on here. Seriously.
thanks for having me.
It's an honor to have you on here. And till next time, guys, keep up with the channel. We'll plug Gordo's channel as soon as it's up. And thanks for watching.